more and more. And look at the angle that Federal is going to be trying to get here on some of the other players too. They need to be careful though, because Doku Machine is nearby and he's laying down and he's waiting just for a chance to strike.
I mean, you could almost say that that foot was put on the back foot, but instead they put their foot down, right? They're going to hold their ground and they're going to try and defend it. Ooh, Malik trying to sneak on up a little bit of that hoorah play now, just moving up the hillside. But I love the third party angle. I think that was from Fireflux that actually connected up with them. Now it's going to be a little boy here from Influence trying to see if they can maybe get a position, get an angle. But as you said, Duckin' Machine just waiting in the wing, ready to let loose.
It is waiting to get loose, but guess what, Hora? We saw what Hora might be able to do. Hora Esports going up that mountain, got caught off a little bit, got told to slow down by Fireflux, and now they're just going to be waiting for these two teams fighting towards the top. Foot, Influence Rage, there you go. Foot finally being able to get some of those knocks. Law is going to be able to spot somebody there from Foot. Is he going to be able to knock him? He's not. He's very low. He needs to connect with one. There you go. There goes the knock. Make sure to confirm that into elimination, because it's going to be so tough for these teams to just go on there. He's going to be able to spot the other player, and you know what? You're going to stand still for me, Law says. I'm going to make sure I send you back to the lobby.
Influence Rage laying down the low, but I mean, it could be a little bit short-lived because, well, look at this. It is going to be Hura now pushing up as well. No Fear coming through with the jump shots. DBS, beautiful play through the window. And what a quick sweep that was.
It was. Hora Esports said, through the window, through the walls. You know what? You go back to the lobby too, buddy, because it's over for you. Great push there, actually. You guys were talking about this was a team from qualifiers, a team that was able to actually make it from there. They've been playing. We saw what qualifiers teams were able to do yesterday, especially at the start of the day. They were able to do really, really good. And Hora Esports taking the chance there to third party, making sure they eliminate Influence Rage, a team that they definitely don't want to have to worry about towards the later circles. Meanwhile, Zebra Masters being able to connect there with the Team Kessel player and now trying to figure out where everything is going on. And with the circle that we're currently seeing here, Vampire Esports is going to be looking really, really good, especially with what we saw earlier. Vampire Esports being able to gather a lot of that west area of the map.
Yeah, I mean, West is best this time around, at least for Vampire. They've got quite a bit of a spread there, but look at this. Just a full send. The Deathwolves now going to be looking to pick up a few of the plays, but Hurrah on the defensive. Oh, Sky just locking it in, and that is the end of the road for the Deathwolves.
Hora Esports just being able to do everything. Third party, check. Being able to push a team, only lose one player, check. They're going to be able to do a full reset here, as now they're going to have to start worrying a little bit more because DX is very close by. But with that spot there that Hora got, they might actually be looking good. They might be able to third party some of the other teams if for some reason they are able to fully reset. I don't think they're going to be able to fully reset with this player getting eliminated. So it's just going to be two players there from Hora Esports.
But I'm curious to see what Zebra Master are going to be doing with their current positioning over on towards this eastern side of zone. Beautiful angles that they've got down over on towards Fireflux. We can see Luck now getting met with quite a bit of aggression here. But, I mean, Fireflux, right, trying to get themselves in. Zebra Master, they're starting to build up that momentum. And we saw yesterday, if Zebra Master gets it going, it becomes quite challenging to really stop that play from unfolding. And now Nextria also testing their hand, but Zebra just staying solid in the compound.
And those shots that we saw earlier from Zebra Masters is what made the difference for them yesterday when we were talking about their performance in Sandhawk. If they found a compound, they weren't being passive. They weren't letting all the teams get around. Even if they weren't pushing towards them, they were making sure they made any team that ended up peeking pay. And that's currently what they're doing it here with Nextria, earlier with Fireflux, and any team that's going to be coming by as everything does slow down a little bit more now. The madness of Sandhawk takes a bit of a chill pill as Zebra Masters does know one player from Nextria is going to be around the corner. Is going to be who can hit their shots. M4 versus M4, I believe. Who is going to be the better one with it? And Nextria, the player, is going to be looking a little bit tougher for him. A bit more of a struggle, as now they do have to worry about the blue zone.
I mean, at this point, right, taking fights is one thing, but picking a fight with a big bad blue zone, it's a fight that you're not going to be able to win, as we did see Kain now fall into the blue. The mentor, Diminor, right, just laser focused down towards that southern side. waiting to see what is going to be happening. But, you know, such a challenging play that we've been having so far.
It has been, and now we go to Hura Esports. This was a team that I was wondering what they were going to be able to do with what happened earlier. That beautiful push that they were able to clutch up. By the way, it was an absolute madness of a push there by Hura Esports, and I'm glad it ended up working out for them. They're going to have 2 players. They're inside the zone, and if I'm not mistaken, if they can just hold this and keep on moving up inch by inch, this team could end up with the great positioning for those placement points as Baton, Vampire Esports. Look how proactive Vampire Esports too, being able to get those angles, making sure that nobody tries to surprise them. DX is still in the mix. This is what can happen when DX decides not to take those fights in the blue zone and instead prioritize towards the later of the game. This is the DX that we've been wanting to see.
Oh, let's see. I mean, Parisian and the rest of the crew just trying to get a little bit of foothold. I like the fact that Nave has gone for that wide positioning over on towards the western side, but let's see if that play is indeed going to be paying off. They do seem to be gatekeeping Hura from getting themselves positioned, getting a position, getting an angle in. But Baton still in the mix.
Oh.
Beautiful nade though up onto Zebra Master.
Baton was able to spot him. He's going to be able to get that elimination for his team. And Hyper now at 7 LMs. He's going to be able to jump over the car, and he can't connect though. But if that would have happened, boy, that would have been a play of a lifetime for him. Being able to jump over that car, do a quick 180 and make sure you hit those shots with the DBS. What could have happened there? The amazing clips that we would have seen out of that. And now we have DX, the player Peregrine, making his way up to Hura as some of his teammates does end up getting knocked and end up getting eliminated. He's getting spotted. He needs to throw that nade quickly. He's going to be able to throw it right before he gets knocked. Can he actually connect? He's not going to be able to connect. And now Hura Esports is able to move up a little bit closer towards that circle. But boy, it's going to be tough considering that Vampire Esports and one more player from DX is currently on the hunt for them.
I mean, but this is such an interesting position that we find ourselves in, right? We've got 2 of our qualified teams in here. We've got 2 of the partnership program teams going toe-to-toe. And now it's going to be Tony K with a quick opening up onto Vitin there on the edge. Quick nade. This could definitely close up the play, at least for Zebra, as Neil Zada does take a little bit of damage. Tony not done with their fruit just yet. They're going to keep on rolling. But DX instead is going to be the team to lead the way on through, and we're down to the final 2 squads now.
Final 2 squads. Vampire Esports, the way they position themselves, the way they rotated, the way they were able to hold all these angles is currently making wonders. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Vampire Esports, they said, oh, you guys have been mocking us for how we did in PMGC? Well, guess what? It's a brand new year of PUBG Mobile Esports, and we're coming for everything.
I mean, it's good to see Vampires Esports not being scared of the sun, right? In fact, it just powered them up even more so, stepping over into Sanok, bringing in such a dominating performance. And I mean, what a way to close it out. They only got 6 eliminations, but they were still able to pack 1,108 damage into this performance.
And I'm honestly, I'm completely fine with that, because the way that they were able to position themselves there towards the north, hold a lot of those angles, control a lot of the area between them, it was absolutely beautiful. And on top of that, you had a lot of the other teams having to fight towards that north circle once the circle did end up shifting. Overall, great performance there, Hot Jukes, by Vampire Esports.
Woo, I mean, it's about time, right? I mean, we were expecting that they were going to go ahead and pop off the rip. We've been talking about them, and they did not disappoint. So it's so good to be able to see Vampire start off so strong. And it's also good to see... What was that? Oh, well,
Sounds
you know what? It's
what
also
you're saying,
good to see...
but I cannot hear you.
Well,
And you know what? Let's go straight into the highlights here of what we just saw happen in none other than Sanhok Team K. So this was what we're talking about. That first player from Fireflux just got a little bit too overextended there, DK.
Oh, it was close. It was, you know, it's a risky play. Foot, they also tried quite a few plays. I love these jump shot window angles that we had coming through. I mean, it was just such a performance. But, you know, Hura, no fear. In the window they go. Jukes, what a spicy play up in the very first match.
Oh, yes, sir. Put it in that work. I mean, also, I think it was really beneficial to see that first circle for these teams as well. To be able to have that nice Western zone, I think definitely attributed to the performances that we saw. This jump shot, though, from Baton, I was freaking out because I was with you, Seven. I was like, yo, if he hits this, we are going to go nuts. But, oh, just taken out from under him at the last second. Oh, surprising. Looks like N-Hyper had the most damage in that one, Seven.
Yeah, with the way that they were taking all those fights towards the earlier stage of the maps too, I'm not surprised to see N-Hyper there towards the top. Baton, we saw them being able to get a beautiful grenade on one of the Zebra Masters players and confirm that elimination. 7 eliminations for N-Hyper. This could be massive for them, considering that this is a team that we've been talking about. They definitely need to get all those points. And Hora Esports, I'm actually really surprised at how they were able to perform in this match and how they were able to third party and make sure they rotated the right way to get that second place finish as well.
Yes, sir. Now, one of the teams that was kind of disappointed by, I had some high hopes for DK, was Xavier, right? They lasted towards the end of the game, and I was really thinking, like, man, they're going to put some big points on the board here, but didn't get the eliminations that they wanted and weren't able to finish out a top performance. What do you think about that?
I mean, at least we did see a little bit of a shift in momentum. But, I mean, again, looking back at what we had over on Sanhok yesterday, DX also stepped up, right? We did see them lock in those 5 elims. So they got to push it beyond that, right? They got to take it that extra step further than, you know, essentially as we progress past the Sanhok game.
Yeah, they got to be able to do something here because, yeah, you know, it's good to see that little bit of a momentum shift, but with how they performed yesterday, we need to see a bigger one from them if they want to make sure they make it into the main event. But you know what, guys? We got a nice little interview coming right up, so why don't we go ahead and take it on over to the main stage.
Incredible match we just have watched, but more incredible for Vampire. That was incredible. Thank you so much for being here with us. This is the coach for the team, and we are gonna talk about this last match. So actually, first of all, I would like to ask, were you guys watching Group B playing yesterday? And maybe you guys have prepared some kind of strategy to come for them today?
We are just watching the game yesterday from the hotel because we don't have a venue to watch. But yeah, we're talking. I'm talk to the team that okay, we have strategy to prepare because yesterday we can learn a lot from other team, that other group, how they play or how they compete. So I hope today we can going to play like what we're planning.
Perfect. And what can we expect from your team today?
We wanna do everything is like what we have to do, like get more point, get position, because you know it's just only the 2-day competition. It's really hard to maintain the placement. So we try to get more point as possible today and tomorrow.
Okay. Is there any team here that maybe be a big threat for your team?
I think it's a lot of teams, so I don't have any idea what specific team, but I think all teams are really great on this tournament. So I think it depends on the circle and it depends on the game.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the interview and good luck in the next match.
Always good to see the legendary coach there for Vampire Esports coming in saying that he was watching yesterday. But you know what? Sky said, hey, I was watching as well, and I'm ready to put in some work as he's going to lead the MVP here for game number 1, DK.
I mean, what a good play that was, though. But as we know, Vampire Esports, they locked in on target, getting their claws in on that winner chicken dinner. The first one for the day done and dusted. But Seven, this is where I think the big question comes in now is how are the teams going to respond moving towards game number 2? Because as we know, things don't necessarily always go the same after the opening match.
Yeah, this is when I'm going to be looking at some of those teams like DX. But you know what? We'll expand on that a little bit more. This is what I'm interested about. Overall standings. And even though they didn't even play this match, even though they're not going to be playing for the whole day, Team Falcons holding on to that first place. And now as we move here towards the second page, just like that, with one game in, one chicken dinner down, Vampire Esports pushes all themselves up to 15th place. And guess what? It's going to be looking closer and closer for them to pass up all these other teams.
Yeah, these leaderboards you just cannot trust right now, guys, because we got, teams that played 6 matches yesterday, and we have a new group coming in that has not played at all. And yeah, like you said, it's so crazy to see Vampire in match number 1 pass up one of the teams that played 6 matches yesterday, DK. I mean, I'm not going to say like I'm super shocked because we know what this team could do. I'm glad they didn't disappoint here. But, all these other teams that played those 6 matches yesterday, we're talking about Group B, they need to look at these leaderboards with a different kind of glasses on. They need to just not trust them at all. And I'm looking at you, D Xavier, right? D Xavier need to go crazy if they want to make it into the main event.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be of the utmost importance for the Xavier. If they want to, stay in the running here, they're going to have to up that gameplay. They're going to have to pull a move similar to what we saw Smoke Gaming do yesterday. So there is going to be that pressure stepping into the latter part of this day. So quite a bit on the table here.
100%. Well, guys, go ahead and check out the anniversary crate surprise launch. Some of the best skins in the game. I know you guys been looking to get that full M4, all that kind of good stuff. You have until the end of the month to try to get your hands on it, or who knows, this could be the last time. So go check it out. Also, you got the first pull every single day is only 30 UC. So hey, get in there, get your hands on it, and if you do, make sure you go ahead and send us a tweet so we can go ahead and get that nice little retweet. Easy retweet, guys. Also, of course, we got a big shout out to Real Me, guys. The 12 Pro Plus elevates your photography experience with 120x super zoom and performance in games. Go check it out today.
How to be a portrait master.
We are back. Welcome back, everybody, here to the PMGO Brazil Prelims. It's day number 2, and it's the last day for Group B. So that's who my eyes are going to be on here because they have the most at stake, really. This is their last day to perform and their last chance to put up points to hopefully hold on, and it's going to be brutal tomorrow, 7. These teams and players, coaches, fans are going to be just watching, biting their nails, hoping that their team doesn't get passed up on the leaderboards.
Yeah, you were talking about DX Xavier earlier. You know what? Let's continue talking about DX a little bit because they did, in my eyes, a lot better. The decision making, I feel like maybe the placement 4th place doesn't reflect how high we wanted them to be, right? The urgency that we wanted to see. But I did enjoy them willing to back off from a fight in the blue, backing up from a fight that wasn't gonna end up benefiting in any way. Yeah, if you end up winning, you do get those extra element points, but then you just set yourself up horribly if some of the other teams are set up. They decided to, you know what, get that knock, confirm the elimination on Smoke Gaming and absolutely back off from that fight. And that's exactly what we want to see out of DX. Now going into Erangel, it's going to be a completely different story. Are we going to be seeing possibly hot drops again between DX and a different team from Group C? I'm hoping if there is a hot drop, DX gets in a car or just hit them jets and start running away from that fight.
I was about to say, I really hope not for D Xavier's sake here, because, you know, yesterday it was nothing but hot drops. They were stuck for so long, you know, in the blue zone. They couldn't play their game at all, DK. And we know that if this team can, you know, just get into the latter half of the game with their full squad up, we know these guys can shred, but they didn't even get that chance yesterday. I think the only bonus that they really have, you know, silver lining is the fact that these are new teams they're going against, right? I mean, yeah, they're going against some of the same, but the fact that there are new squads coming in here might lighten things up. But do you think that it's possible we could see some teams try to take them out?
I mean, it could 100% be possible, right? That is the beauty of these battle royales, right? Anything can happen. If the zone's not in your favor, if you don't have the right positioning, things become quite tough. They become quite challenging, and we saw that being somewhat pretty evident yesterday. So the pressure is going to be on here, especially for Group C that is joining in to try and get themselves established. But as we've been saying, right, the Group D squads, they got to lock in on that focus. And what I appreciate about what DX was doing in this first match of the day is it's an improvement, right? As you said already, they decided to disengage from fighting too long out in the blue, right? They fired off a few hits. They're like, you know what? Let's go. Let's change things up. And hopefully they're going to kind of maintain that flow throughout the entirety of today's games.
Yeah, let me ask you this, Seven, right? Considering how of a poor performance they had yesterday, if you're a team coming into this, you know, crippling D Xavier for one match could be enough. That's how bad it is, at least in my eyes. Do you agree, or what do you think?
Like if another team was to maybe try to hunt them down?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, for sure. Hear me out. Group C had an amazing first match for them to Vampire Esports being able to win it, right? Overall. And then on top of that, for the second place finish, you have Hura Esports, a new team from Group C. That's exactly the performance that you want to have if any of those two teams are going to be contending Team Falcons towards the top. Now for DX, later in the day, if they continue to do well, that's going to give them a bit of a cushion. But if for some reason they start performing bad, and I'm maybe Vampire Esports, or maybe I'm some of the other teams from Group C, I'm definitely looking to see if I can make their life a little bit harder. We saw it in quarterfinal finals. I wouldn't be surprised here if we start seeing it on day 2 of prelims.
Oof, hopefully we don't see it off the rip for a team like the Xavier. I think they need some momentum, right? I think that they need to start the day off strong. If they can get a good game in match number 1 of Erangel, I think they're going to be pretty set for the rest of the day. But it's going to be hard because, you know, we got such crazy performers, and I think that if I was in, you know, D Xavier or any of the teams in Group B shoes, seeing Vampire Esports get match number 1 with 16 points, DK, I think that would definitely get my boots to shade a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I can see the team sitting there going like, you know what, we wanted to do that. But, I mean, we still have 5 more maps left, so there will be opportunity for teams to try and contest, try and see if they can play that catch-up game and replicate, you know, what Vampire was able to pull off right out of the gate here. But, I mean, the pressure is going to be on, right? And I want to see that evolution come through. But the big question is, moving into Erangel, right, are we going to have somebody drop up in Pachinki alongside DX, or do you think DX is going to be having that spot to themselves, Seven?
You know what? We talk about DX way too much already. I'm going to wait and see, because all the hypotheticals here, I'm just getting a little bit nervous for what could happen with DX. I'm going to be looking at some of the other teams that maybe didn't have one of the best performances from Group C, even though they were able to showcase some flashes of greatness there. Influence range, we saw what they were able to do, right? Not only fending off some of the other players earlier in the map, but also winning the fights when it mattered the most. And then sadly for them, the team that ended up in second place, or Esports, ended up third-partying them. Influence Rage, I feel like that's a team that could definitely do well when we end up going to Erangel, whenever this match does end up starting. And then a team towards the bottom, All Glory Gaming, we didn't even get a chance to see them. That I can possibly remember, DK. I don't even think we got a chance to see them on the screen. A team eliminated right away. 0 points. That is not how you want to be starting your day, considering that is a team from Group C.
Yeah, and I mean, just as I was shutting them out, right? It was they were gone. They were gone. So I don't know, Jukes. Hopefully, I'm hoping that we can see a little bit of that BBA, right? The bounce back ability coming in as we enter over in towards game number 2.
Yeah, 100%. There's a bunch of other teams here that need to have a great match number 2, and a couple another one is it's Team Liquid, right? Team Liquid, they've already played 7 matches today and they only have 34 points. They're currently sitting in 8th place on that cutoff. And remember, we're gonna have quite a few teams, 16 in total, play 6 more matches tomorrow. So Team Liquid need to step it up, and Hyper is another one of those teams. They only have 27 points on the board, and unfortunately, I think it's pretty much I'm gonna call the nail in the coffin already for Virtus Pro and Insanity Esports. I mean, they played 7 matches so far. Virtus with 16 points and Insanity with 13. These guys have got to be not feeling too good here. 7.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of the show too. It kind of comes down to how this team is gonna be able to react when we end up getting to that 3rd match of the day, to that 2nd Erangel. If they also have a bad game here on this Erangel, not only is the morale gonna be down for that team, knowing that it's over right now, there is a slight chance of hope, even though deep down they probably know that it's not, right? With what along the lines of what you were saying, Hot Jukes. But if they continue to do bad, all those other teams are going to recognize it. They're going to be looking to see if they can maybe stop their rotations, surprise them, or if they do see them on the elimination feed, try to third party that fight, because they know it might be a little bit easier to get those points. So that's something that these teams that are towards the bottom from Group B, now playing on their 2nd day, are going to have to start worrying about.
100%. You can already see right there, D Xavier, you look at the players, you can see these guys have a good idea of where everybody's dropping. You know what I'm saying? They want to avoid those hot drops at all costs. So hopefully we don't see that situation happen with these teams. But yeah, if you're a team like Insanity, right? If you're a team like Virtus Pro, you have to start adjusting your gameplay, just like we saw in the qualifiers, right? You got to look at your situation and make a change. And if you're one of these teams, you have to know that, hey, we got to win like 3 chicken dinners. Like, that's how bad it is. And they can't just be regular chicken dinners. We need double-digit elimination chicken dinners, right? So if you can't do that in, honestly, this match here, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really, really hard for them, DK. And one other thing that we didn't really mention, what you were talking about, 7, right, is, yeah, teams can definitely hunt them down and try to get those free points. But then again, when these teams have nothing to lose, they could decide to just hot drop some top squads and make things hard for them as well.
I mean, it's a tough lineup that they have to, a tough choice rather, I would say, that the teams will have to make it. I mean, we were talking about this through the qualifiers, but now it's about time to see what they got to deliver.
Well, let's see it happen here. Yeah, as we get ready for match number 2, I'm gonna go ahead and hop on in here and run this one with you here, 7. Let's get it going as we see a nice little plane path right down the center.
Easy. You couldn't ask for a better playing path than that. Wherever it is that you wanted to go land, you're gonna have a perfect chance to go for it. Man, I was expecting I wanted to start letting that toxicity flow through my body. It's day 2. I can be a little bit more toxic. I wanted to see like a southern plane and then maybe a north circle. Make it really, really tough here for the first Erangel. So when we get to the later ones, possibly it's a little bit easier. But what if we get the reverse, Jukes?
Ooh, why don't we just go ahead and take it to Millie off the rip, huh? Let's keep that energy. You know what I'm saying? Let's just see some absolute chaos here. Or maybe even the legendary Zarky circle. I heard you in the game number 1. You're talking about Cave. That's still my dream. And in Erangel, for me, it's Zarky. I've only seen it in my entire PUBG mobile career, I think, twice.
Yeah, I think we saw one at some, possibly my first one last year. So if we can get that, I mean, I won't be against it. I won't be against it. I'm gonna be looking at DX though. They are currently landing in Pochinki. I'm not able to tell if any of the other teams are gonna be landing near them. You can see Team Castle there towards the top in Severny. Gonna have a lot to work with. And boy, we're talking wanting to see some toxic circles. This is not toxic at all, unless
Nope.
in the next circle it goes south.
Oh, if it does, that would be absolutely insane. But it looks pretty, you know, pretty tried and true so far. No hot drops that I've noticed yet, so that's very good for these teams because they need to really avoid it at all costs. And you know, we were talking about trying, you know, I was kind of like, you know, hinting at maybe the wait, hold on, let me see the shots. Can we get it done? What? Trying to be able to get that knock from all the way from prison, not able to hit those shots. So that is Virtus Pro maybe hitting that 4 stack right there by prison. Interesting strategy for them.
Can you imagine if he actually would have hit that shot and you're Virtus Pro trying to change your day around, trying to make sure it's a completely different day. Hopefully you can do enough to possibly make it into the top 8, even though it's looking very unlikely to them. You're flying, you're like, okay, boys, we're gonna land there, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm knocked. Never mind. We're 1 down, boys. 1 down.
I'm not even gonna lie. Just hearing those shots whiz past my ear while I'm in a parachute, I'm like, are you kidding me right now? You know, like that is not the energy that you're looking to have here. But you can see the standings. Everybody, remember, they are quite skewed on the fact that we have, you know, teams that played 6 more matches than a lot of these squads here. So it's crazy for me to see Vampire already in 15th place after only 1 game. But you know what? We're only going to see them climb up more and more and more as the day goes on.
Yeah, the fact that they were even able to right away on the first game pass up some of the teams that played yesterday, that just talks about how bad those teams had yesterday and how much they need to just make a change. And we're talking about teams that definitely needed to make a change. DX, we got a chance to talk about them for a long time. We finally getting to see that, okay, they're gonna have enough time here to position themselves to loot Pochinki. Nobody's gonna be pressuring them. Also with this circle that we are currently getting, they're gonna be able to take their time and figure out where they might want to rotate, possibly have enough time to scout and see what's gonna end up happening. And now we're looking here at a Team Liquid being towards us out. They're more than likely going to have to rotate. They're more than likely going to be moving up through those bridges. And something that we saw yesterday was a lot of that bridge camping. And if I'm looking at Team Liquid, I also have to point out Old Glory Gaming. It's even further south, currently looting. They're not even in the circle.
Yeah, they're not in the circle right now. They're all the way down on military base, just looting those little southern buildings. So they're going to have a fun time trying to get into this zone because both bridges right now are pretty well gate kept and secured. So we'll see how that all plays out here in just a few minutes. You know, when it comes to Team Liquid, 34 points on the board, definitely not going to be enough as well. You know, what I want to see from some of these teams that are kind of low on the leaderboards that were from Group B, I think they need to hunt down some third parties early on, 7. What do you think about that? You know, I think that they need to try to get some eliminations, but safely, you know? So maybe try to avoid those early engagements. You know, if you can get a third party though and try to soak up some points, do it, because there's no guarantees here. You need to get to end game and you need to put some massive points on the board, but you also need those eliminations as well. So if I'm one of those teams, I think that trying to loot very quickly, you know, try to get some of those early game third parties going is going to be absolutely essential.
Yeah, possibly trying to get teams under rotation. And I love how you put that there, safely on those third parties, because boy, you can definitely do a third party safely, and then you can do one where it completely ends up backfiring and possibly you end up getting third party. So a lot of the scouting is going to have to be done too. Insanity Sports, this is a team, honestly, I didn't know what to expect out of this team, and they're neither letting me down or putting my hopes up, because this team is just nowhere near towards contention. And that's another team. We're talking about Virtus Pro, we're talking about some of the other teams that just weren't performing that well. Insanity Sports at the moment where they're currently at, with just having a total of 13 points, that's not going to be good enough. That's another team that needs to be able to turn it around. That's another team that possibly needs to do what you were talking about there, Hot Jukes, which is if they're going to third party, do it safely. Make sure you try not to lose any players, and if you do, then start positioning themselves towards those later matches. But they definitely need the points.
100%, and that's why I stress on trying to get it done so early, because you know, if you try to get a third party in zone number 1 or zone number 2, you have a lot more room to breathe, because there is so much space. You have teams kind of like separated, so if you're able to get that third party going, you can. And if it doesn't feel like it's going to work, you still have so much breathing room that you can just eject safely, right? Now, if you're trying to do these third parties in zone number 4 or 5, your chance of getting third partied are like 90% immediately afterwards. So that's why I want to see them press the issue here, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm a realist. Looking at Insanity, they need a chicken dinner top 3 finish with double-digit eliminations in this game, or it's nail on the coffin for at least for me.
Yeah, when you were saying earlier how I was trying to be positive and saying, okay, you know what, maybe they can kind of end up positioning themselves, and then you hit me with the truth bomb of possibly they need to have 3 chicken dinners for Virtus Pro and those other teams that are towards the bottom. I was like, okay, you know what, you sway me. They're definitely not gonna make it to the top 8 unless they do end up getting
it's
those
possible.
3 chicken dinners.
Yeah, it's possible, right? But it has to happen now, and that's what I stress on, because I hate to see teams and IGLs and coaches just say, hey, just play your game, play the same thing. You have to look at reality. Like, hey, we had a terrible day 1. It's still possible, but in order to make up for the bad performance we had in day 1, we have to go insane in day 2, right? Stick true to the name. So I want to see that, and honestly, I will be more proud of Insanity if they do that, if they go insane and go out, right? If they try to push the issue, and if they go out, it's okay. But if they just play it safe, even if they get a chicken dinner here with 1 elimination, I'm gonna start shaking my head, because that's just not enough.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that one. And the thing is that they actually do have like a veteran player within that team as well with Swagwin. So I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Another team that I kind of want to see a little bit more about in regards to today, and a team that positioned themselves pretty well from yesterday, as we do see Foot being able to take some shots there on Virtus Pro. It's gonna be none other than Smoke Gaming. I mean, the team performed so well. They're currently within the top 3, and they can definitely position themselves, not only guarantee in a way themselves that they're gonna make it to the top 8 by how they performed today, but possibly make it to that first place and try to challenge Team Falcons, although Team Falcons still has 1 whole day to play. If they start performing well, if they break the pattern that we saw yesterday with the first 2 games being absolutely awful for this team, we could see a much better Smoke Gaming.
Yeah, 100%. Remember, Smoke Gaming are not going to be playing tomorrow, so they need to go crazy. They need to challenge all these teams with a crazy performance right here today. And they didn't have a bad game number 1. They put up some good, solid points there. So I think that's good, especially considering that is Sandhawk. This is a very good circle for them here. And I was hoping that with the zone shift, we would see them, start driving along that south side and try to get to that hard shift side. And that looks like exactly what they're doing. So they're definitely in a solid spot here. Now, some of these other teams, like, All Glory Gaming and Hyper, Death Wolves as well, they're going to be pretty behind the 8th ball with this kind of circle.
Yeah, a lot of teams might end up getting just bottleneck there towards the bridge. And yeah, I see what you're saying, no, and that's because one of the DX players does end up getting eliminated. I was going to give them props earlier. They didn't end up losing anybody. They were having a little bit of freedom. But Zebra Masters, a team that is just so proactive, looking around, seeing who they can find. They're able to spot a player there from DX. Maybe is overextending a little bit too much. They get him knocked. And that's one trait that I really enjoyed about Zebra Masters, just how proactive they are, looking around, making sure that nobody gets too close. And if they do get too close, make them pay for it.
Yeah, that's kind of disappointing for me from the side of DXavier, considering that this circle is pretty good for them, considering that they loot Pachinki. But the fact that Zebra Masters was able to catch one shows that they did their homework, right? They knew that DXavier was going to be coming from Pachinki side, so they did what we talked about earlier, right? Those rotation campings. If you're going to beat a team like DXavier and some of these other teams that can have some pretty insane players, the best way to get them is by catching them out in a vehicle, right? And that's exactly what Zebra Master did. They saw the circle. They're like, yo, this team's coming from Pachinki. Let's get this easy point and loot. And that's exactly what they did.
We're talking about earlier with Virtus Pro, possibly third party in fights. Well, guess what? They're currently positioning themselves here to gatekeep Vampire Esports, which is easier said than done. And then on top of that, they had DX very close by. And what I actually enjoyed there, Virtus Pro just taking those shots, even though they more than likely weren't going to be able to connect and fully eliminate that player, still taking the shots, showing that they're still confident. They're wanting to take those fights and letting them know, hey, just when you step out of that building, remember, we're going to be here towards the top.
Oh yeah, Virtus Pro, I like the fact that we see them active. It's very unfortunate for them that they happen to be looking at one of the most insane teams in the lobby. Oh, okay. This zone shift is going to make things interesting. We saw Death Wolves go all the way down to the south to gatekeep on the bridge to possibly catch Team Liquid on their way in. That's what you can see there on the bottom left. So Team Liquid's in trouble, but now Death Wolves have to make a decision, right? Do we keep this gatekeep going, try to get these points, or do we leave and go to Circle 7? What do you think they should do?
For Death Wolves, I'd rotate as soon as possible because there's just going to be some of the other teams are going to be rotating. The fights are going to be very unlikely at that point because they're more than likely wanting to focus towards that end of the match. And Team Liquid, I mean, yeah, you will get some solid points here, but it kind of goes with what we've been talking about DX this whole time. Just focus towards the later games where you're more than likely going to be able to get easier points, and they're just going to be coming towards you. But I mean, at this point, they're trying to back off. They're wanting to stay. I'm not sure what they're wanting to do here as Team Liquid just took a little bit too long there in the south, and I think they're getting away with the Jukes. As yeah, you know what? They're backing off. Team Liquid definitely gets away with one there.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, if I'm Team Liquid, I wouldn't have even shot a shot at Death Wolves. I would have been like, yo, guys, go. You know, we'll fight you guys later on. I'm not even going to shoot a shot. Don't even worry about us, you know, because it would have been bad for both of them. Any second longer would have crippled them even further. Honestly, Death Wolves and Team Liquid are already so behind. So it's good that they were able to get out when they could. So let's see if they're even able to make it into this next circle already. It's so difficult to go late into these games. In earlier stages in tournaments where there's weaker teams on the edges, it's fine. It's not okay here at PMGO. I mean, every single one of these squads are just monsters waiting to just tackle teams that are on the edge. And oh, look at the trigger discipline from Schweppes.
Oh, he's gonna take off that tire. Nice. All right, Schweppes. And then on top of that, you have enough of now to let it spray. Oh, so close. It's getting him to like what, 10 HP only. But Foot actually ends up getting that knock. And now they're going to be switching targets. Yeah, Schweppes, they knew exactly where that team was going to be at. And they need to be careful as DX is also starting to get shot. I think Foot is going to realize this is going to be a very, very bad spot. Let's not stop there. Let's send it back towards where we were. And Schweppes just costing a lot of damage and just a lot of confusion here for this team. As Zebra Masters is now currently looking to hunt down one player from DX, and that's going to be it for Chua as he gets knocked, and he's going to get fully eliminated.
This is just so tough. These guys cannot catch a break. I mean, they haven't had one Aaron Gale where they're able to get into late game with all their players up. So when you have something like that happen so consistently, it kind of alters your brain chemistry of just how this tournament is. And it's going to be so difficult for them. But meanwhile, look at this Team Liquid, another team that needs to put up some big points here. It's all up to Ayala to keep his team alive. And let's see what if he's going to be able to do, as we are taking a look at the map. And this zone is going to make things difficult. This is actually a really good circle for N-Hyper, though.
It is. They have so much space to work with there towards the north. Nobody's currently going to be challenging them too. But with this circle, there's going to be so many shifts. Once again, Smoke Gaming, a team that we saw there for a bit inside the circle. Next, Ruya now being able to reset a little bit, going to be making a push. Death Wolves, remember, that was a team that decided to stop with the bridge camp, and he's going to be working out wonders for them. At least they're now within the circle. They're not going to be super handicapped. Old Glory Gaming losing some players, and Paragean currently trying to figure out if he can possibly get inside this buggy and get away with it.
He needs to put this team on his back at this point. Like, they desperately need points in game number 1. They need a hero. Oh, meanwhile, look at this battle back and forth. Zebra Masters and next Ruya go down. So they do end up taking out Team Liquid, but Zebra Master real quick on that third party. But you said it earlier, right? Once you start third party, you can instantly get that fourth party going, and that's exactly what happened.
Keep the parties going, baby, because that's exactly what can happen. It's much easier said than done with those safely third parties. You need to be on the lookout. You need to be a chameleon with those eyes looking everywhere, because everybody's looking for that easy chance to steal those eliminations or just to fully eliminate you. We got Virtus Pro here, one of the teams that definitely needs the points. One of the players, they're almost getting knocked as Hura making sure that they make them back off. Death Wolves on the horizon too. These teams need to be careful because they could end up exposing themselves, and we just saw what happened there between Next Ruya and some of the other teams like Zebra Master.
That was a scary rotation for Virtus Pro. I did not like it at all. These guys need to be fighting and trying to get the points rather than trying to risk a crazy rotation. They did get one player knocked. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get that res off because they need it. They need all 4 players up, And again, in my eyes, a chicken dinner with double-digit eliminations if we want to even see them have a chance, as they do get a beautiful knock there onto Smoke. That is one of the teams that is also in their group. They need to get the finishes, but 2 of their players are knocked. They're so separated. It's not looking good.
They are separated, and then we have Smoke Gaming now trying to make sure they are possibly going to be able to confirm these eliminations and then knock the 3rd player there for Virtus Pro. And what was interesting too, as we're looking at some of the teams fighting, is I'm keeping an eye on the leaderboard, and right now Zebra Masters, Nextria, Team Liquid, DX, all those teams that are towards the top of this current leaderboard are knocked. If I'm Group C and I'm looking at this, if I'm one of the teams like in Hyper needing the extra points, trying to make that extra push to the top, I'm gonna be so happy seeing that as Hura Esports is able to destroy another player there from Death Wolves.
100%. It's the doors opening now for a team like in Hyper, but they have to take advantage of it here. Meanwhile, Hura Esports, I was seeing a whole bunch of their fans in the chat cheering them on. A lot of expectations for this team. They only have 2 players up. Could be a big nade here. Got to hit it. Nice little heads up play though. DBS is out. Goes through the smoke. Oh, now finally gets a good idea of where he is, but goes down in the process. Death Wolves, last player up for them. Gonna have to pop in the vehicle. Oh, it's on fire though. This is risky. Yep, he said never mind.
He thought about it. Yeah. He thought about it. He was like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to be doing that, as we do have a new circle pop up, and it's going to be none other than going towards Influence Rage. And now with all that real estate that Hyper had to work with there towards the north, they might be able to end up positioning themselves here on this terrain to maybe start third party in some fights. Old Glory Gaming, a team that wouldn't get to see much in the first match, still alive, currently with 0 eliminations though. But if they do end up surviving a little bit more and they don't get any limbs, they're at least gonna be able to clutch up some points in regards to placement points. Insanity is still alive as well, and Vampire Esports just learning. They're trying to see if they can go back to back as Virtus Pros gets eliminated.
Yeah, that's it for them here. So in my eyes, one of the teams from Group B that could still have a chance is Insanity. It's a very slim one, but they need to win this game with crazy eliminations. And one of the teams that could be pressing up onto them right now is none other than Vampire Esports. You see Tony K. He's got that M4 and that famous mini of his locked and loaded and ready to go. They're on the south side. They're outside of the circle. They have 2 minutes though, so you can see them right now. This is just all intel gathering. They're just trying to figure out where's the next spot we're going to go. They're looking for trees. They're looking for